Well, our daily cancellation today begins with a woman named Jo Lumen, who identifies herself as a pastor and a theologian. That'll prove to be, as we'll see, an absurd self-identification. Even by today's standards, it's still pretty absurd. In her Twitter bio, Jo describes her mission this way. She says, decolonizing faith and spirituality, dismantling oppression and toxic theology. She goes by she, they pronouns, by the way, in case you were interested. And she is also on the board of directors as a parent board trustee of a charter school in San Diego called the Elevate School. And that last detail, her status as a parent board trustee, is especially disturbing, and you'll soon see why, if you don't already see it. In any case, it would appear that yesterday Jo was playing in some kind of game show where contestants are challenged to compose and then post the most inflammatory, stupid, morally vacuous tweet they possibly can. We can assume that she took home the $1 million prize with this effort. She tweeted, "I would rather get an abortion than have a brown child who ends up being adopted by white evangelicals. It's not a kindness to children of the global majority to give them to people who will traumatize them with self and ancestral hatred. An abortion is an act of love." Yes, Jo thinks it's better for a black child to be killed than adopted by white parents. Bad news for Colin Kaepernick and for many millions of other people who, according to Jo, would be better off dead. And notice how quickly the narrative shifted from pro-lifers are hypocrites who oppose abortion but refuse to adopt children to now pro-lifers are colonizers who adopt children. Quick, let's kill all the babies before they get a chance. There's more to say here, but first let's review the entire exchange that followed. I responded to Jo's tweet in my usual subtle, gentle fashion, writing, "So you're a racist along with being a homicidal, soulless, baby-killing ghoul. Got it, thanks." Jo immediately sensed the opportunity to make herself the victim, and she wrote back, "No, not this quote tweeting me. I'm literally freaking out about the hatred I'm about to get for sharing my own choice. And I won't be silenced. I won't delete my post. I stand by what I said." A few minutes later, she posted again, emphasizing the point, "I'm genuinely panicking. Last time a conservative like Allie Beth Stuckey and Matt Walsh quote tweeted me, I got death threats with my address and the names of my children. And I won't be silenced, but I'm begging them to please tell their followers to be decent." Be decent, she cries. Cries the woman specifically who just said she'd rather suck her child's brains out of his skull than allow him to live with a white family. Be decent, damn you. Can't you see that decency is her highest priority? Well, her first priority is keeping her children away from races she despises, even if that requires her to kill and dismember them. But after that, she really cares about the whole decency thing. Now, Jo's fellow blue-check feminists came to her aid, including a woman named Jen Morrison, who's a freelance writer for the New York Times and other outlets as well. She commented, "You might consider locking your account just for a little bit. I watched Walsh encourage his followers to continue attacking a suicidal woman. They aren't relentless. I'm so sorry." Now, it's true that the Sweet Baby Gang is relentless, but nothing else she said approaches the vicinity of the truth. I, of course, have never told anybody to attack a suicidal woman. In fact, I've never encouraged anyone to attack anyone. So I asked Jen to produce evidence, screenshot, clip, something, to back up her defamatory claim about me, but Jen informed me that she doesn't want to mention the name of my alleged victim or produce evidence that this event occurred because that would be really painful for the woman. So we just have to take her word for it. As somebody in the comments pointed out, this is like the feminist Twitter version of, yeah, I totally have a girlfriend, but she goes to a different school, except with an added dose of defamation towards me in this case. Okay, now, a few points. First, this is the leftist MO, right? Most especially the feminist leftist MO. A tale as old as time. Empowered feminist woman says something utterly vile and insane. People on the internet point out that it's vile and insane. Empowered feminist woman immediately becomes a fainting damsel in distress, crying that she's being attacked and her feelings are hurt. We might dub this the Taylor Lorenz maneuver. And a vital part of this maneuver, of course, is to claim that you're getting death threats, but to never produce a single screenshot of any of those threats. It's very nice of these ladies too, I guess. I mean, they're getting thousands of death threats, but they respect the privacy of the people threatening them with death, so they don't post the screenshots. Like, ever. They just never do. They never produce any evidence of any of these deaths. They're getting death threats every day. We never see any of them. I mean, you would think if people are sending you death threats, you'd have a lot of incentive to post it and like put their name out there and everything. And I don't know. I guess they're just being very considerate. Second, it's true that my initial response to Jo was quite aggressive, let's just say, and insulting as well. I mean, I did call her a ghoul after all. And in a follow-up tweet, I also called her a goblin. And really, any monstrous creature from fantasy novels could work here. Ghoul, goblin, troll, vampire, werewolf, I mean, whatever you want to do. The comparison works in any of those cases, but should I, especially as a Christian, be speaking to and about people this way? That's the question. And the answer is yes. Absolutely, I should. And so should you. It's essential that we do not allow ourselves to become numb to evil. We have to see it for what it is and respond to it accordingly. This woman said out loud that she would rather kill her children than let a loving white family adopt them. That's not simply an opposing viewpoint. It's not just an opinion. It's not just like some idea. It is pure, unadulterated evil. It's just about the worst thing a human being could possibly say or think. And my fear is that living in this twisted culture where evil straight from the bowels of hell has been normalized and mainstream, we may not have the kind of gut-level emotional reaction to it that we ought to have. And that's why we should respond harshly and severely. Here's another good rule of thumb. Got a lot of them. When you hear someone on the left say something disgusting and psychotic, imagine how people 70 years ago would have responded to that statement and respond like they would have responded. Third and final point. Jo says she wants to decolonize faith. Well, this is ironic because, of course, she's doing exactly the opposite. To colonize something is to establish political control over it. So leftists are engaged in a kind of ideological colonization, attempting to establish ideological control over countries, institutions, cultures, and religions, especially Christianity. They hang the pride flag on embassies in countries that have no interest in LGBT pride. They force gender neutrality into foreign languages that are inherently gendered. They insist that everything conform to their ideology, and they pervert and corrupt Christianity in an attempt to turn it into not just a different faith, but into its own opposite. Jo and her comrades envision a Christianity where the self, not Christ, sits at the center. The highest love is self-love in their version of Christianity. Anything done for the sake of the self is good. Abortion is an act of love, she says. And she means that it's an act of love for the self because it is service to the self. She flips Christianity on its head, makes it into Satanism, and then accuses everybody else of colonizing faith. But that's exactly what she is doing, of course. Well, I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Matt Walsh Show. If you did, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right down there so you can stay up to date on all of our future content.